Today we're going to be going through the first section of the Salesforce Certified Associate Exam, which is going to be Salesforce Fundamentals, which is going to take up 32% of the exam. We are going to go through each of these bullet points. I'm going to go through some examples and show you some of the tools and different scenarios that you may see on this exam. So let's jump right into it. The first bullet point is, given a scenario, describe various resources available to learn and apply in-demand Salesforce skills. So we're going to be really talking about Trailhead as a whole and navigating from the Trailhead website in order to find these other resources available. If you're not familiar with Trailhead, hit pause on this video right now, go to Trailhead, sign up for an account, and follow along with me. So I'm going to be talking primarily about Trailhead, and I'm here on the Trailhead website, and I want to talk through the different resources that are available. So here on the Trailhead website, I want to talk about the system that they have set up where they kind of gamify how you learn Salesforce. And so just a few of the resources just on Trailhead alone. Right here I am on the Trailhead website. If I hover over this Learn, I want to talk through just some of these resources available. Really, Trailhead, they make it sound like you're going camping up in the mountains, and they use metaphors as if you were in a scouting program, such as Boy Scouts or Girl Scouts, where you earn badges, you go hiking on trails, etc., etc. And so here on Trailhead, it's gamified because for each module or badge that you see here, and I'm going to click into this, you are actually going to gain points, and you can accumulate points to boost your rank as a Trailhead individual, and you can go ahead and look and see what badges are available, which is really nice. So these modules or badges are these different units to help you learn Salesforce. So you see right here, there are all kinds of available badges or modules or units. The modules are what help you to learn. These are learning objectives. And what these modules do is they grow into a trail or a series of modules within a certain topic. So for example here, if I go into Secure Your CRM, which is going to talk about data security, you'll notice that there are several modules that are here available for you to go ahead and click into and read and learn and then gain those points. At the end of most modules, there's either a hands-on test where you go into a developer org, which we'll talk about in a second, or even a quiz where you can test your knowledge. And so really Trailhead is trying to gamify your learning, and that is the best resource. That's where it's going to be easy for you to understand. They always have examples in here of how you're learning these scenarios. So as I mentioned, we have modules, they build into trails, and then those even go into trail mixes, which is again just a series of trails around a similar topic. Most certifications, people have already created trail mixes, or you can actually go ahead and build your own trail mix and identify which modules, which trails you want to learn for this particular topic. In this case, the associate exam, and you can create your own trail mix. Or you can find plenty of trail mixes out there that other Trailhead users, trailblazers have already begun trying to learn. On top of the modules and trails and trail mixes, Salesforce also has super badges and super badge sets. These are really nice because these are hands-on projects. These are going to test you pretty deeply in certain topics. So for example, if I want this admin superset. So this superset is a series of super badges. Again, a super badge is like a module, but much larger, much heavier requirements, and has a lot of hands-on testing that you need to do. And so super badges is another piece. So that is Trailhead, gamifying your learning with all the information available here on this website. The second one I want to talk about are the Trailhead communities or Salesforce communities. This is where you can collaborate with other individuals, you can post questions, you can answer questions, and you can collaborate with other Salesforce professionals. And this is available for anyone to take a look at. So here again, under Trailhead, if I hover over this community page, I could go here to feed, right? And this is going to take me to part of the Trailhead community where people are constantly asking questions. giving answers, and just having discussions around certain things. So the community here within Salesforce as a whole, the Ohana, is great, very helpful, and this is one place where you can find it. So this is a fantastic resource as you're trying to learn these skills, primarily when you're early on in your journey. Make sure to check out Trailhead Communities. If you're curious about, what do people actually do day to day, take a look at the forums, see what questions are being asked, and see what answers are being given, and see if you can duplicate those solutions in your own developer org. And that leads me to my next point, which is a free developer account. This is where you can go ahead and Google this, free developer org. Here I am on the website here. You can sign in. By signing in, you essentially get, as it says here, a full-featured copy of the Salesforce platform for free, where you can go crazy. You can go ahead and configure, you can poke around, and I consider, everyone asks me, I got my certification, XYZ, how do I gain experience? How do I actually prove that I'm learning? If you aren't doing this hands-on in an environment, such as a developer org, one that you get through Trailhead, you need to be doing that. That's really how you're gonna be learning. So whatever module you're learning in Trailhead, whether it's a hands-on where you're building something, or if you're just learning and reading through a particular principle of Salesforce, have another tab open of a developer org and be looking to find that principle within the Salesforce org. That way you'll be actually building something, and you'll be not only building within an org, but making sure that you secure that information, because as you build, you'll retain the information much better. So developer org is a phenomenal resource for you to build up these in-demand skills. Another resource available to you is Salesforce Help, which is a website. Again, you can Google it or you can navigate it from your Trailhead. So here I am. If I go to Help, I can go over here to Salesforce Help. This essentially is the database of actual documentation that Salesforce has put together that you can search constantly. I'm looking up something, Googling something, and it's going to send me to a Salesforce Help article. So for example, I can go ahead and search within here. Let's go ahead and search for, let's talk about a pick list field. And this will actually bring you to the actual documentation that Salesforce themselves have put out. So if I want to learn about pick list documentations or pick list limitations, I can go ahead and jump into this Salesforce Help article and read through some of the limitations. Max number of values, custom pick lists, how many values you can have, et cetera, et cetera. And so Salesforce Help, again, is that database of the actual documentation from Salesforce themselves. Great place where you're going to find a lot of answers, a lot of technical answers as well to different problems that you're trying to solve. Salesforce Trust is another great resource where you can actually check the downtime or outages or maintenance windows of different products of Salesforce as well. Wanted to mention that you may see a question on that, but again, Salesforce Trust is where you can see that information. Outages, downtime, maintenance, and even report those things as well to Salesforce. So Salesforce Trust. And last but not least are the certifications themselves. Now I consider this a resource to build up your knowledge because certifications should not be your end goal. Certifications should help you on your path to learning Salesforce. Too often I get comments about, which certification should I get next to get a job? And I say, well, any certification is great, but really that's not the end goal. Certifications don't guarantee that you've learned something. You could be a really good test taker or not. But the certifications help you and guide you to understand what do you need to understand to be a value-adding member of the Salesforce community, to be a great admin, a great developer, a great consultant, or architect. And so these certifications are great learning paths for you. So I highly recommend that as you're learning for this associate exam, map out maybe your next few certifications, and that'll help you map out maybe what you want to learn next. And so a great resource, and make sure that these exam guides and these study guides that are found on Trailhead are followed as well, because again, Salesforce is trying to teach you something because that's what the actual customers of Salesforce need help with. Let's move on to our second bullet point, which is given a use case, identify which Salesforce Customer 360 product offerings could be used. Now, the Salesforce Customer 360 is a fancy way of saying how Salesforce has products for anything possible that a business may need. And so want to talk through several of the products that you'll need to know, particularly for the exam, and just a high-level understanding of the differences between these. So here I am on the Salesforce help page once again, and here I'm looking at all the products. Now there are several products here. You don't need to know all of these for this exam. Really the ones that you want to be familiar with and that I'm going to talk through right now are going to be the sales, service, marketing, and then maybe a little bit of commerce and experience. But really it's these main three that are a bulk of what customers of Salesforce are using. And so let's talk through these just a little bit. Sales Cloud is the most common product of Salesforce for businesses using Salesforce. And Sales Cloud is focusing on just what it sounds like, sales. So if a company has Sales Cloud, they are having their different prospective customers, people that they're engaged in contract negotiation, showing demos or product tours. They have them listed on different records within their Sales Cloud. And so I'm going to jump into a developer org and just show you really quickly the very common objects that you will see on the test when a question is asking about Sales Cloud. And so here I'm in a developer org that I have here, and I'm in the Sales app within Salesforce, part of the Sales Cloud platform. And I want to talk about just a few of these basic objects that when the test is talking about Sales Cloud, it's likely talking about these objects. And by objects, I mean the different types of records that can be found in Salesforce. And so I want to focus on accounts, which an account is a company. Sales Cloud is particularly used for business to business sales. So we have our companies listed here, the companies that we're trying to maybe sell into, to have relationships with, and see if our solution makes sense for them. So we have the accounts, we have the contacts, which are individuals at these accounts that have interest and that are in discussions with us. And if we're in a sales engagement, we're going to open up an opportunity, which is an opportunity to make a sale. An opportunity is a deal, right? They are interested, and we're going through the process of qualifying them. We're going through the process of really just determining if our solution is for them. We have an opportunity there to track that information. And so we have the account, which is the company, the contact, which are the individuals at the company, and the opportunity, which is that sales engagement. And the fourth one that is very commonly used in Sales Cloud are the leads. Now, leads are prospective customers. Maybe we haven't quite qualified them yet. We don't know if they're real, if they work at a real company, and so we haven't put them in as an account or a contact. They're just a lead for now. We're doing our reach out, our outreach, and we just want to make sure that they're a real person, and if they're really interested, then we'll convert them into an account, an actual company, and an individual or a contact. And so if these objects are being talked about, we're talking about Sales Cloud. This is particularly where the Sales Cloud is used when we're talking about these objects. Now, if I talk about cases or tickets, I'm talking about Service Cloud. Service Cloud is the other popular platform, a product of Salesforce that is used to service or support existing customers. And a great example of this is, let's say I am a customer of Amazon. I use Amazon very frequently. I have an Amazon account. Let's say that Amazon is using Salesforce. If, for example, I order a product, but it doesn't come, I'm going to go ahead and submit a support ticket or give them a call or give them an email. Likely, as a result of that call or that email or that support chat, a case is opened up. And a case is that ticket for them as a support team or a service team to track and make sure that they are resolving my concerns and that they are answering any questions that I might have. And so cases are found within the Service Cloud, which again is a very common product of Salesforce. And so we have Sales Cloud, we have Service Cloud for existing customers, and let's talk a little bit about Marketing Cloud. Marketing Cloud is, just as you guessed it, focused on marketing. Marketing Cloud is trying to make sure that people are aware of the brand. And so we're talking about developing different emails and email lists, and lead generation is going to be within your Marketing Cloud. And Marketing Cloud is going to feed directly into Sales Cloud. Marketing is trying to generate that information so that people know about your company and that potentially they might get into a certain webinar, a certain demo request, or built into a certain list for your sales team to reach out to. So Marketing Cloud feeds into Sales Cloud, but it's all about nurturing those individuals within your target market. So if I'm selling window cleaning services, Marketing Cloud is focusing on business in the city and sending out invitations to attend events, invitations to learn about or send out free resources, different white pages for companies to learn about your company. And so that's Marketing Cloud, is trying to nurture your recognition of your brand and have people get interested in your brand without your sales team having to reach out. So that's going to be Marketing Cloud there. The other ones that you may need to be aware of is Commerce Cloud, which Commerce Cloud, if you think of it, is really like Shopify. It's business to consumer, B2C. It's where you can sell products directly to individual users, individual people. So me, as Ryan, I can go buy something on Etsy or Shopify. Companies could have Commerce Cloud to sell products directly to individuals. So that's Commerce Cloud. You may not see it, but it's one to be aware of. And the other one that you may need to be aware of is Experience Cloud, which Experience Cloud really is a customer-centric, portal-driven product that allows your clients to have business portals, connected websites, different applications that you have used with them so they can log in. And so that's Experience Cloud. So I recommend that you go ahead and just, again, high-level overview of these different products of Salesforce, but particularly know sales, service, and marketing. Again, there's a lot, but those are the main three. Know the differences. So again, sales, we're talking leads and opportunities. Service, we're talking cases. And marketing, we're talking about email lists, about nurture campaigns, and different marketing initiatives. Third bullet point here is describe how companies use Salesforce. Now I'm going to take a very high-level approach and just really drop this into three different buckets. We're going to have customers, we're going to have partners, and we're going to have independent software vendors or ISVs. The first bucket of Salesforce customers, let's say in the example that I own this window cleaning service, and I use Salesforce to track my potential business clients, and I track those different deals that I'm trying to gain with them. I'm a Salesforce customer. I log into Salesforce. I have this data from my clients. I'm constantly trying to get new contracts. So I am a customer of Salesforce. I use Salesforce as a product for my business. Now let's move on to the second bucket, which are Salesforce partners, or you can think of them as Salesforce consultants. And now where they fit in the Salesforce ecosystem is, let's say a Salesforce customer or that window cleaning service is starting to grow, but they don't have time to build out their Salesforce. They know that they need help, or maybe they just bought Salesforce and they need help implementing it. They don't want to do it wrong. They would look for a Salesforce partner or Salesforce consultant to hire them temporarily to help them with certain projects, implementation, connecting different apps, etc. So that's what a Salesforce partner or Salesforce consultant does. They're often working with multiple companies at once that are using Salesforce for their business, and they're helping configure and enhance that. So that's a Salesforce partner. Now, a ISV or an independent software vendor are those that actually build apps on the App Exchange. Now, the App Exchange, think of that as the App Store. Just how your phones have a different App Store, we can go and download tools, games, different things. The App Exchange is where you can go to find and enhance the actual functionality of Salesforce with these companies or ISVs that have built apps to live on top of Salesforce. So if I go actually into the actual Salesforce App Exchange, we're going to go ahead and jump in and just show you kind of what that looks like. So here on this front page is you'll notice that there, again, real quickly, are all of these apps that you can install within your Salesforce. Now these are built by companies, not Salesforce themselves. These are built by companies to go ahead and put inside of Salesforce. So these are ISVs. They build these apps to enhance the standard functionality of Salesforce. So again, recap, the three buckets of how companies use Salesforce is we have the customers, which is the actual company. I own the window cleaning service business. I use Salesforce. My team uses Salesforce. I am a customer. We have the Salesforce partners. Oftentimes Salesforce consultants are the people that I am hiring because I need help with Salesforce or I need help implementing Salesforce. So I'm going to hire them. They are Salesforce experts or partners, and they're going to help build out my Salesforce so I use it in a better way. And then lastly, we have those ISVs. They are actually building their vendors, so they're building these apps for the app exchange that you can kind of tack on top of Salesforce for different functionality. And so those are the three buckets that I want to cover for how companies are using Salesforce. Last bullet point here is differentiate between various job roles and career paths in the Salesforce ecosystem. So I want to kind of boil this down to 4 or 5 different roles or career paths. And the questions you may see is that, let's say you're a Salesforce customer and you need something to be done. Who would you ask to do this? So the 5 paths that I want to talk about here quickly is a Salesforce admin, Salesforce developer, Salesforce business analyst, a Salesforce consultant, and a Salesforce technical architect. So really quickly, we'll go through each of these and I'll just give you the differences between these so you're familiar and you can go ahead and look on Trailhead and find these paths as well. So here on the actual Salesforce career path page, here's a few of these, right? We have administrator, developer, consultant, architect, and business analyst, right? Those are those 5. I actually prefer this one here when I look at credentials and certifications. I just like this breakdown a little better. And so the differences here are administrators are those that configure Salesforce in a declarative way. What I mean by declarative, you'll hear often in Salesforce, is clicks, not code. Meaning you have declarative functions, I can build something without having to know a certain coding language. I don't have to know HTML or C++ or Python. I can do this with the tools within Salesforce. I can configure Salesforce myself without code. So that is an admin. They do a lot of the basic design and basic configuration of Salesforce. Now the developer is focusing on code. Salesforce can do a lot of things declaratively, but there are some pieces that does require customization beyond what Salesforce can do with the tools within it. So what I mean by that is you need custom coding to do certain functionality. That's what a developer does. A developer is coding. Think of it like that. Developer has to work in code. So we have the admin that does the basic configuration and the developer which does custom coding. Next up, I want to talk about the Salesforce business analyst. The Salesforce business analyst is often not configuring or coding or really building too much in Salesforce. They are working with stakeholders to gather requirements, build project plans, and really work on the strategy of Salesforce. And so they're analyzing the business and then figuring out how within Salesforce we can address that need that the business has. So that's a Salesforce business analyst. There's a pretty new certification that I've already done a video on that goes through the business analyst role. It's something that Salesforce is really investing heavily into. And so that's the business analyst. They're typically not configuring, they're not doing coding, they're simply working on the business. They're working on the strategy and trying to get business needs and understand how Salesforce can fit those needs. The fourth one I want to talk about is the Salesforce consultant. Talked about this with the partners. Salesforce consultants are oftentimes either an admin or developer, or business analyst, or all three. But really the important part about Salesforce consultants is that they don't work for a company per se. They're not hired by one company. They're often contracted out to several different companies that need consulting help with Salesforce. Again, in the example I said, I own my window washing business. I don't have an admin, I don't have a developer, I don't have a business analyst, but I figure I can probably get a lot of the help from a consultant and not have to hire a full-time employee myself. So that's a Salesforce consultant. And lastly, the Salesforce technical architect is the one who has a very, very deep understanding of Salesforce. A technical architect takes years typically to get to that level of experience, and you are really able to answer all the questions yourself. You're doing a lot of the deep dives within the businesses and building or passing off builds to your team as you manage a team of admins or developers to find these solutions to make Salesforce the best possible program for these companies. So that's a technical architect. Now, I bring these up because you may see a question on the test that says, you need to have a field created. You need just one field created in Salesforce. Who should you ask? Should you ask an admin, a developer, business analyst, consultant, or a technical architect? So think about that. It's pretty basic configuration of Salesforce. Who should typically take that type of work? Now, pretty quickly, it should come to mind that that's going to be an admin's job. So want to talk about, again, those differences so you understand when they're used and the different paths that you have available as you go down your Salesforce path. You may have a different inclination to one of those paths, and wish you the best of luck as you continue to learn Salesforce and go down one of those paths to a great career within the Salesforce ecosystem. That covers it for the first section of the associate exam, Salesforce Fundamentals, which can take up 32%. Let me know if this has been helpful. If you have any questions, if you're preparing for your test, let me know how it goes afterwards. Love to know how we can improve these videos and just put out the best content so you are feeling prepared. I know it's a lot of information. It can be very stressful. So hope that this helps kind of put things together, as I know it is a ton of information if you are brand new to Salesforce. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next one.